you found the skeleton, how would you tell people that it's you personally? How would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dapper Reacts. I am here with Vishanti and Kip, who does not know what 20 seconds means. He just doesn't.
I just stopped listening to you after a while. Is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, well, there is a reason why I did say and last and certainly least yesterday during our intros for Star Trek.
I caught that.
Yeah.
So, but also, why does Craig hate me?
I don't think he does. I don't think he knows you.
That's my bestie. Craig doesn't hate you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Craig does not hate
you. You sure?
Craig likes to play cantankerous characters.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
In real life, he is like the nicest, just most kind person. Seriously. That's why games like that are fun, because you get to be someone else. That's why acting's
well,
fun.
unless you're Kip, who chose to play pretty much himself.
Yeah, I think we all kind of do that at first, like in our first,
Actually,
early days. But...
when I was explaining your character to some of the other players in the game,
they're like,
"So Kip was Jordan popped up and was like, hey, is this Kip's first TTRPG campaign?" And I was like, it sure is. And he's like, yeah, I could tell because people always play themselves for their first campaign.
Yep, it's always that way.
Yep, and it's okay, right?
Yep.
Like, look, you're easing into it, and there's a lot of things that you're doing that are pretty typical of first TTRPG players. Look, Craig did some similar stuff too, so don't worry.
You know yourself, and you know how you behave, so you just change the setting, and then later on you're thinking like, oh, okay, like it's easier to step into somebody else and how they would behave or whatever. So yeah.
Cat is mad for $5 says, why does someone hate Kip? Probably because he's written no books. AIG is a wreath of wangs, and we'll take a drink for that. Thank you. Yes.
No, I thought it's always worthwhile pointing out that like there is, and it's not even the first book that I've written, and I expect
affordable book.
That's fair. That's very fair. Definitely the first accessible book that I've written, and I hope there will be more in the future. And I know for a fact there will be an audiobook. By the way, I discovered last night that a certain now disgraced Egyptologist has made an audiobook for his novel that he narrated himself.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's a choice. So, but anyways.
All right. Well, everybody, we are here because we are taking a look at Signs and Wonders, who I've actually now decided to tag in the title to this video because, hey, Signs and Wonders, you're welcome to come hang out and chat. And in fact, if you wanted to,
it's a fun place to hang.
I would even let you come on a show. Maybe not today, because I don't know that I'm set up for that. But if you wanted to be here for like maybe a follow-on, we could do that instead of our regular reaction. You could give us your take on us reacting to you. Because I would find that interesting. It's very rare that I get someone who actually comes on and tries to speak for themselves after I've responded to them. Although I did notice that if you open up a incognito or in private or whatever window and search for Lawrence Tisdale, who's the guy we're talking about on Tuesday, the first thing that pops up is videos, and the second one is one of my Tisdale Tuesday streams with Chesh. So yeah, if you just go into it, and I did incognito, because it doesn't draw from like the tracking data that has about your profile. It just gives you like the brand new user from brand new IP address who isn't logged into a profile, which is like the default. So that's how I check on stuff like that. Same thing with YouTube. You get different results if you search on YouTube with your own account than if you do with an incognito window, because your account, YouTube has a bunch of information about your viewing habits, and it'll give you the videos related to that keyword that it thinks you particularly want. Yeah, so and Peter Punchinati Monger says, he'll absolutely swear more than Kip. Might have to ban him in chat because he'll be caustic. So here's what I'm going to tell my mods. If Nick, Signs and Wonders, shows up, then I don't want people to ban him unless he's being straight up abused. And even if he is, start with timeouts. Tad is mad for $2 says, I'm glad Ben could be here today with Mothra, and I don't understand because this is Vish. People seem to not understand who my guests are.
But Vish played Bent this last week,
about.
Didn't she?
No.
I thought for sure. Oh, okay.
I would do a horrible Bent impression.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
You know that right out the gate. I talk way too much.
Yeah, I don't think
too,
that energy. Yeah, I don't think that Vishanti could pull off playing Bent for an entire 2 hours.
Not for 2 hours.
No.
I have to say though, I have to say though that the one time that I popped into your Godzilla watch stream on Discord, it was a little jarring at how garrulous Bent was. I was like, who is this person? So
that's today's vocabulary bonus.
Yeah, garrulous. Good word.
It's a good word.
It is.
Means he's like Gary.
So we're watching. This is. I remember now. This is Charles Darwin's
great grandson or something
great
like that?
Descendant. Yes.
Yeah. And we were just being told that after tens of thousands of generations, no one has ever managed to see speciation or beneficial mutations in a laboratory. Both of which are just completely wrong. Just flat out, that's just not true.
Does he have bottles of liquor on his desk? It looks like it.
I don't think so. That's not a desk. That's a kitchen.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's the kitchen.
That's a refrigerator on the right with that kid's drawing.
That's fair. Yeah,
okay.
He's got. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, I
was
just
so focused over to the left with the hot and cold tabs because it's England.
Okay, just
look. My brain. I didn't stare at this photo very long, and my brain just went. I don't know why he's in a hospital, and then I just moved on, and now I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
there's a vent hood above the burners.
Well, it's also because it's little teeny tiny box. I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
They turned Charles Darwin's house into a museum, didn't they? So this is not.
Yeah, this is not Charles Darwin's house.
The Darwin house.
This is his many times great grandson's house.
I know, but it'd be some of those old homes in England. Families live in for hundreds of years. So,
all right, someone did call me out for forgetting to update the percentage on the counter there, and I will take a drink for that. But we do have drinks on the counter, so. Pat is mad. I don't know what you mean by no drinks. All right, so yeah, and they also said that all the mutations lost information. Now, of course, here's the thing, right? I don't know if that's true or not because no creationist has ever told me what they mean by information in a way that would let me measure the information before and afterwards to tell whether or not it's gone down. And any possible option that I've ever tried to say, well, what about this? That a creationist has ever agreed to, when I pointed out that under that definition, in fact, information has been seen to increase after mutations, they then back out of that definition because that must not be what they meant. And I've used things like total size of the genome. I've used things like number of genes plus pseudogenes, number of genes and regulatory regions, number of genes and regulatory regions and pseudogenes, number of proteins, like all of these things. And they're all just like, okay, yeah, sure, if they get that far. And then I'm like, all right, well, here's an example of that number going up in a mutation observed in real organisms, in the wild or in a lab. I'm like, well, that's not really what I meant by information. So what information actually is it's the thing that must decrease anytime there's a mutation. There just is no such thing, but that's what they actually mean by it. It's just some arbitrary thing that always goes down anytime any mutation occurs, no matter what it is.
It's also like you have all of the base pairs and amino acids and things like that, and a lot of mutations are just remixing the order. And so the fact that like they think all mutations mean some of those just get completely dropped, that is preposterous. Like sometimes they get copied extra times. Like yeah, sure, sometimes they get skipped, but also remixing stuff isn't losing. I don't understand
Yeah, it's very confusing.
I've given up trying to parse this because they think they know what they mean, and that's enough for them, and it doesn't matter if anyone else does. So, yeah, sure.
Is Edmund Pevensey a character from
You gotta read the whole chat if
the
you're gonna
Chronicles
reference
of
the
Narnia?
chat. Yeah. Read the whole thing, and then you can comment on it.
Okay, sorry. Did y'all Fearmonger says, did y'all know that Skander Keynes, the actor who played Edmund Pevensey, is a descendant of Darwin?
And I
didn't
not
know that.
But also,
and I'm trying to figure out who that is.
So Edmund Pevensey is in fact one of the Pevensey kids from the Chronicles of Narnia. I did not know that. I also don't know which Chronicles of Narnia we're talking about, whether it's like the made-for-TV show from like the 80s, or if it's the more recent ones.
I expect all references to Chronicles of Narnia are to the lousy movies, unless otherwise stated.
I still am not sure which one that is, whether that's the new ones or the made-for-TV ones.
Like the newer ones.
Good for him. Darwin's my whatever
something
cousin, like 3 times removed, something like whatever.
It turns out there's only about a few dozen people in England, and they're all related. That's just how it is.
It's kind of fun though.
I remember someone was trying to impress me by all these connections between various English actors, and I'm like, yeah, but there's just not that many people.
They live on an island,
right?
This is just what happens.
Of course, they're all related. It's they all have the same great grandparents. I get it. Everyone in England has the exact same great grandparents. Good job, everybody. Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says information can only be ones but not zeros, because zero is nothing, and info that has a 0 in it, therefore no info. Let's see, but AIG has no O due to group impotence. Oh, get wrecked, and I'll take a drink for it.
Oh.
Well, they're definitely not reproducing any new leaders, so.
Yeah, no, they are not. Yeah, they're having trouble.
Seems like. Yeah, it seems like they might be an infertile hybrid.
I think, honestly, what might happen is that Calvin Smith of Answers Canada just kind of gets, grandfathered in as the head of AIG as a whole.
All of AIG.
I think it's funny because it's like Canada's slow annexation of the United States.
I mean, the thing is, Calvin Smith, he's got a certain level of charisma, but I feel like he's too smug to be as effective as Ken Ham in terms of speaking engagements. But then again, I mean, Ken Ham's not doing a lot.
Ken Ham's pretty condescending, so
he is, but not as much as Calvin Smith. I can watch a Ken Ham talk without feeling like if someone talked to me like this in real life, I would probably want to punch them. I can't do that with Calvin Smith.
Really? Wow.
Every time I hear Calvin Smith or see him, I'm like, this is someone who is just asking to get punched straight in the mouth. Not that I would. I assume.
Somebody. You just assume somebody would.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of person who would get, if he were to go to a bar, he would start bar fights, not because he's drunk or anything, but because he cannot figure out how to talk to people who are drunk without getting punched.
FSM Dog says that because everyone in England knows each other, sounds like a Yank stereotype that thinks we all live in London because that's the only place they've heard of. Of course not. Everyone doesn't live in London. Just the rest of the people live in Liverpool.
Yeah.
But this is a stereotype we hear in the Great White North are very familiar with.
Is it everyone knows each other?
Yes, and
I mean, at least you have some space to spread out across that one long road.
You know what the freakiest thing about being Canadian. I discovered this when I lived for a time in New Zealand. I was at it's not a college. It's it was literally 6 months of Bible camp, which was super fun. But when I was there, there was other Canadians there. Half of them were Mennonites. Okay. And the crazy thing is that there were Mennonites from Manitoba and Mennonites from British Columbia who were in attendance at this place, who were living at this place with me. And they all knew. They all knew people, the same people. They were all, less than 6 degrees separated.
Well, the Mennonite community is significant, but it's not gigantic.
Right, but you're talking about two places that are literally thousands of miles apart. It's an interesting thing that everybody in Abbotsford, British Columbia, just knows everybody in Brandon, Manitoba, or knows the same people.
Tad is Matt for $5 says, I don't want to know how many English people I'm related to. Colonialism is a bitch. Calvin Smith is a bag of a. We'll take a drink for that. Ben Thick Tunicate, who's been a member for.
That's my daily life as a genealogist doing like Mexican ancestry, is like the only reason that there is such a proliferation of records for me to dig through like millions and millions and millions of records is because of colonialism. So
Pat is Mad, who's been a member for 32 months, says, let's see, let me double check. Let's see. Oh, AIG are a seminary of sperm slingers. We'll take a drink for that. That's fine. Let's see. Tasman said, I agree with Joel Duff. Kelvin can't take over AIG because he's too caustic. I think I'm going to modify that. I think Kelvin shouldn't take over AIG because he's too caustic. I think it would be a bad idea if he took over AIG because he's too caustic. I don't think that means it won't happen. Because
I'm also very aware of the increasing proliferation of Christian nationalism in the government and all related besties in that sphere. So it would pretty much go right along with that whole project if they hired him, because that's just where we are right now.
Also, Ben Thick Tunicate has gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, which means it's time for Kip to express how weird it is that his character has only one hand, but now it's the other hand that's missing.
That was the weirdest thing that happened last night, and I was quite freaked out about it. I'm thankful that it wasn't the same hand that's been transplanted onto the opposite arm, because that would make things incredibly cumbersome and awkward. But my character spent the remainder of the evening just trying to work out how to now navigate life with the other hand that he's not been using since he was
this like Men in Tights, where Prince John's mole keeps moving around on his face.
Well, so what happened is we were playing Star Trek Adventures, in case anyone isn't clear, and you can succeed on a task, but if you roll a really high number, depending on the complication range, but it defaults to just if it's 20, something bad happens. Usually, I was
unaware of this.
I usually just take a threat point, but I can choose to make a complication in the scene, so something unfortunate happens. So Maddie's character, the chief engineer, is trying to negotiate the difficult beaming situation to beam the crew back up onto the ship. And she rolled successfully, but she also rolled a 20. And so I ruled that what happened is everyone beams up successfully, but which hand is missing on Kip's character has switched now as a result of a transporter malfunction.
Listen, I just have to say, because I've only been part of this part of this crew for just a few weeks, but I have to say, in my experience, that Commander Doulos is an astonishingly poor engineer. How did she
mechanically? She's not. Through? She just keeps getting really unlucky rolls.
Okay,
like if you look at her character sheet, she says if you look at her character sheet, she is set up to be an excellent engineer, and statistically, she should be.
Just so much potential.
Hey, before you got there, she had a transporter accident in which the first officer was transporter cloned.
See, I've heard stories, and they have not disappointed. They have proven true to life, and now I am trying to figure out how to finish writing my novel with the other hand.
All right.
It just
you could switch to text to speech. The Star Trek computers are really good at that.
I know, but I'm a bit of a purist, and
His character is such a purist, he's going to scratch it into a clay tablet with his claw as a stylus. Charlie Kirk Smokes, welcome to Tetrapod. Everyone send some Tetrapod emojis. But hey, you know what? We've been going for a while. I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this. Here we go.
So that would be like, that's like the reverse of evolution. That's like the opposite of evolution, right?
Well, remember, what he means is
What?
the fact that all of the bacteria evolved but didn't have beneficial mutations, which they didn't go to a new species, which arguably they in fact did. If you want to go with any definition for species, it's consistent. And the fact that they lost information, which he's never going to actually figure out what that means. He says that means that what actually happened in all those experiments is the opposite of evolution. Well, okay, yeah, if you lie about them, then sure. Yeah.
What would the opposite of evolution be?
So that's another thing, is it's not clear what I suppose stasis would be the opposite of evolution, where there's like no change in allele frequency over time. Because evolution is just a change in allele frequency over time. So if you had the opposite of that, it would be no change, I suppose.
I have to think about this.
Tad is Matt for $5 says, "The dice giveth, the dice taketh away." Kinda like YouTube. Rip Kip Hand. Well, yes, but welcome to new Kip Hand. And technically, it's Lieutenant Vraylax's hand. Kip's hands have not changed.
Sure. No. They're both here.
And Charlie Kirk says, "Mood" in a super sticker for $1.99. Thank you very well. Charlie Kirk smokes. If Charlie Kirk were here, I would have a lot of questions.
Me too.
I would say, hey man, you should have listened to the Wu-Tang Clan. They told you how to prevent this.
Yeah. I actually love the blood. Yes.
I don't know. I would wonder if he's if he's part of the if the ghost of Charlie Kirk is now part of the same leadership group as the ghost of Michael Heiser.
Michael Heiser, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening now.
You
but
don't know the celestial overseers of the church of Ring Them Bells?
No.
When they say there's such a cloud of witnesses, we've got the dearly departed.
I mean, Michael Heiser continues to text and send tweets from beyond the grave.
Oh,
so why not?
That's weird.
Why not? Charlie
Actually,
Kirk?
loves Blahai for $1.99 says, "AIG is a bag of gnome. I'll take a drink. Technically, it shouldn't count, but I like it anyway." Charles
My
Jackson and his
Blahai's about
genomes.
5 feet away. So
Nice. Well, actually, by the way, Space Marine 2, a game we both play sometimes together. Next patch, they're releasing the Space Sharks cosmetic pack. You could totally get a shark-themed paint scheme going there. I think it'll probably end up being like $5 to $8.
Yeah, they're contradicting themselves.
Yeah, evolution says you gain new information through mutations. Well, what they observed was a loss of information.
I mean, not any way that you want to objectively measure information. For instance, if you look at, say, the most famous such example of having a bunch of bacteria in the lab, it's the Lenski long-term E. coli lab, or experiment. And that actually ended up with a duplication of a gene and a promoter region into a new section of the genome, which then both together with some more mutations, it turns out it was like 4 or 5 total mutations that had to happen, but ended up with a new metabolic pathway being expressed. I don't know about you, but if I gained an entire new metabolic pathway and the old one still existed, I don't know how I could call that anything other than a gain of information. Right? Like, I have a new digestive process that just didn't exist before. It just didn't. And then the only response that Creationists give is like, well, it was based on a previous digestive process. Yeah, that's how evolution works. It takes what was there before, and it modifies that. And sometimes it copies it before it modifies it, so you get a new thing that you didn't have before, but it's still a modified version of what came before. Because that's evolution. So, like, yeah, there is no meaningful way in which you can define information that is objective and measurable, in which evolution has not produced new information, increased information, in real time, in labs, and in the wild, as it's been observed by humans. It's just not true that evolution hasn't increased information. And actually, even professional creationists say, well, I don't really have a definition for evolution. You can look at, I think it was, now I don't remember which creationist it was one of the ID guys from the Discovery Institute. And Dan Stern Cardinal from Creation Myths had him on to have a little bit of a chat or a debate or whatever. And yeah, just straight up said, yeah, I don't think we can measure information in a way that where we could put numbers to it. He's like, all right, well, then I just don't care about your information arguments. They don't mean anything. I was like, well, I think they're actually still pretty intuitively powerful. And it's like, okay, cool. I don't care. Intuitively powerful is not useful in science. Science isn't about your intuition.
Nope.
Now, you can figure out what you want to investigate or new avenues to tackle a problem with your intuition, right? If you're like, well, my intuition says we should test for this. Great. Test for it. But what matters is the actual results of the test, not the fact that your intuition. So it's not like intuition has no place in science. It's just it's not evidence.
I'm not a scientist, but as a philologist and a biblical scholar and someone who works pretty closely with principles of historical research, I understand some of this. It's fairly analogous, and I just have to share. This last week there was a commenter on a recent video that I made about the manuscript evidence for Psalm 22, who basically called me an idiot because I somehow don't recognize that passage is about Jesus because it's obvious.
Oh,
I mean, what
obvious.
else could it be if not Jesus? That's the argument.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
love
know.
that it's so obvious that none of the New Testament authors lean
obvious.
into that.
I'll say this. The preconceived notions that you have that formed before you were even really consciously aware of forming ideas in your brain always end up seeming like they're extremely obvious, and why would anyone ever think otherwise? Regardless of how obvious they are.
Crownhouse63 in the chat says it was intuitionally convincing that the sun orbits the Earth for a long time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't, it's not intuitive that we orbit the sun. It's just not.
It doesn't feel like I'm spinning around the sun. I don't
feel like you're going 1,000 miles an hour?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm on one of those teacup rides at the fair. Like, I just don't.
Those make me throw up.
Yeah. I've only been on, I think, like 2. They didn't make me throw up, but I didn't really enjoy it. It just felt like I was being thrown around for, like, no particular reason. And I was like, what's the point of this? This is just unpleasant for no reason. I don't know.
So the worst... Oh, no, go ahead. You should read that one.
Pat is mad for $5 says, Kip, you're not an idiot for seeing Jesus in Psalm 22. You're an idiot for not knowing how volcanoes work. There it is.
But I do. I spent an entire stream with Landon, and he informed me all about volcanoes.
Yeah, but
fire rocks.
To say that you now understand or know how volcanoes work is to imply that you retain that information.
I did retain it.
Well,
so it's all good.
Tell you what, if we can get this to Bent gets free pizza, I will administer a volcanology test. Like on another stream, I'll have to prepare the test. Like it'll be like next week or something.
God.
No studying allowed, Kip, because that's cheating.
How is that cheating?
Because you're saying that you've retained the knowledge that you learned from Landon.
But I'm.
Also, we're probably not going to get to Bent gets free pizza. It's a pretty high number.
Okay.
So like you probably won't have to worry about it. But if Bent gets free pizza, Kim also gets a free volcanology test.
Yay.
Yeah. And then later we can give him an IQ test where he has to figure out if it's a giraffe or an elephant, and he has to draw the claw. Because that's an IQ test, you guys.
Is that woman TV man? Is that the
You'll
same test?
You'll have to find out during the test.
Okay.
Have to find out.
All right.
No spoilers.
Through mutations, so that's not evolution.
No, that's just bullshit.
I mean, it is evolution, even if what they said was true, because evolution is any change in allele frequency in a population across generations. So, even if information went down, which doesn't mean anything, or even if all the mutations were harmful, it would still be evolution. So just not knowing what evolution is isn't going to help you.
Yeah, straight up.
Anyway, let's continue the video. I got some things to say after this.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Research into just who Charles Darwin was. He knows that he worked fine-tuning his theory for over 20 years before publishing it.
Which, remember, before this, last week, they said something that would indicate that they did not know that. They thought, apparently, that Darwin just sailed straight to the Galapagos on his 5-year voyage, which, spoiler alert, even in the time of Darwin, it didn't take 5 years if your goal was just to sail from England to the Galapagos. And then they thought that he just looked at the beaks and was like, oh, evolution! And then he wrote evolution down.
I'm correct that Darwin did his own illustrations too, right?
I don't believe that there are any illustrations in Origin of Species other than like the one figure.
Oh, okay. I was just looking at this cool old
orangutan
picture
baby
of an orangutan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is not a Darwin original.
All right.
Yeah, as right-handed says, what is information? What are kinds? We'll never know, because no creationist will ever actually define them in a way that's useful. Olivia Williams Olivia Williams Purple Fairy, you don't want to forget that part, for 5 beaver bucks says, I will help for pizza while testing out my new handle and offering a drink with a Gadora. What is wrong with me today? Take a drink anyway. You know what's wrong with me? I figured it out. I haven't had enough of this beer. So Olivia is helping out.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Good.
He could see how the church would reject the argument because it was it contradicted the book of Genesis, and many of his.
Do any of these people realize that it's just really Galileo and Giordano Bruno that took the heat for a lot of their stuff?
And it was only kind of Giordano
by the
Bruno.
by the time Darwin was doing whatever he was doing, the church had lost a lot of its institutional power in terms of government and in fact, secular science or whatever. Like
Darwin was a Unitarian, and so he was already on the outs with the Church of England. So
yeah, and as far as I know, the Church of England didn't have like a continent-wide persecution for people that didn't uphold their doctrines.
Well, not by oh yeah, I guess continent-wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have just gone to like France or something. Been fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is definitely that. And also, I do want to point out, when Giordano Bruno was not executed for like belief in many worlds or anything like that, he was executed for his rejection of the Trinity, which Darwin was not, despite also rejecting the Trinity, which should tell you something about the difference in the power level of, Christian churches between the time of Giordano Bruno. And also, Galileo was also not excommunicated and put under house arrest for heliocentrism. He was put under that for printing a book without the permission of the censors, and also for promulgating an interpretation of certain passages of Scripture that the Inquisition thought he wasn't authorized to make. There were, in fact, heliocentrist bishops and cardinals at the time that he was put under house arrest and excommunicated. Because as much as the conflict thesis is fun to think about, especially if you're not a big fan of the Catholic Church, it's mostly bullshit.
Yeah, it's just, when was his journey was in like the 1840s?
Darwin? That
40s, 50s?
sounds about right, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Either way, it was long after, for instance, the Inquisition had shuttered its bloodthirsty campaign of enforcing like doctrinal hegemony.
Yeah.
And
they were mostly now just writing nastygrams.
Yeah, and this is well after that, so this idea of like, oh, you disagree with the church, like, bro, he wasn't even Catholic. This is dumb.
Yeah. And he was nominally Church of England, but like I said, if the Church of England had been interested in like enforcing like theological orthodoxy, he would have been excommunicated. Naramda puts for $5 says power levels can go down. Dragon Ball Z could learn from this. Yeah, it turns out. Actually, that seems to be a problem in a lot of anime. Is like there's nothing that ever lowers anyone's power. And I think that's why, like, in One Piece, every, like, main big bad guy ends up being physically larger than the last until the point where it just gets completely absurd. I think that's probably what's... Alright, we're gonna hit play.
Friends in science.
30 kilometers southeast of London, Darwin lived in this house for 40 years. He's said to have been shy and to have had a difficult time of it as a young boy due to his father's authoritative manner.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Darwin was often ill. He
Hey,
spent only 4 hours a
It is true that Darwin was actually very often ill. He seems to have been a very sickly individual, and he also seems to have had like a pretty strong connection between how he was feeling emotionally and how his gut was doing. Because like if he got upset, he was often like rushing off to the toilet to empty one end or the other.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
look, this is deeply relatable to a lot of people now. It's like you get upset, it just messes your whole body up. But also, I'm thinking about the character of Victor Frankenstein, who was very much like this. It's like he would get so stressed out about stuff that he would just make himself sick for weeks at a time. So that's how it was.
Got a few things here. Hello, DT2ZX0. Apparently, this person remembers me from Modern Day Debate, which means you must be remembering me from a long time ago.
Wow.
Because I have
That's a
not
long
appeared there
time
in a
ago.
very long time. Tad is Matt for
No.
$2 says, Kip, did you used to be a young Earth creationist asking for an enemy?
So I mean, I suppose yes. Because I was probably a young Earth creationist in high school. I was actively discouraged from taking because when I went to high school many years ago, you took one of the sciences, chemistry, physics, biology. I was actively discouraged from taking biology because of evolution, and I ended up taking physics, which sucked. But yeah, I think I probably was. It sure didn't last very long though, because as soon as I did go to university, I took introduction to biology there, and I was like, oh yeah, this seems
Yeah, it turns
useful.
out, yeah.
So yeah, but
Oh, sorry.
no, I just to say, I was probably like a creationist by institutional default that really it wasn't something I was especially
Cared about.
interested in or passionate about. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
you know.
Honestly, that kind of seems like where Will Duffy is at with young Earth creationism, because like he said numerous times, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm a young Earth creationist, but like, I don't know, I don't really
Just
think about
because,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
FSM the dog says AI slop voice. No, I'm pretty sure this is far too old to be AI slop. Because this looks like it was produced in probably like the 90s or 2000s. I would be shocked if this is a video that recent. And then Pibblepunk says, for $5, I think perhaps the more important lesson is that when churches have power, people get killed. I mean, it is certainly true
Amen.
that when churches have power, people get killed.
Amen.
Or at least when they have hard power. I don't think you're ever going to get to a situation where churches don't have some kind of soft power, as long as there are people who go to them. And if you say, well, what about if, Christianity dies out? Religion isn't going anywhere. Religious organizations are going to have soft power for as long as humans exist.
Over small communities, okay, maybe whatever, but keep any religious organization from exercising their theologies through the government, period, the end.
Well, that's why I said hard power, right? Because soft power is things like persuasion, moral authority, cultural influence. Those are the soft power options. And I don't think that's ever going to be able to go away. But also, it's hard to actually kill people with just soft power. You might be able to encourage like acts of random violence with soft power, but you're not going to be executed.
Well,
I think by virtue of the
for instance, like, go ahead, sorry.
Okay. No, I was going to say I think by virtue of just the way in which Christianity kind of emerged and dislodged itself from cultural moorings with an evangelistic mandate, it's become particularly syncretistic to the point where it just absorbs all sorts of stuff everywhere it goes and morphs and changes in ways that are not dissimilar from other religious movements, but certainly more aggressive, to the point where I just don't think there's anything that could happen that Christianity wouldn't just adapt to. and change. So that's all.
I'm also thinking, like, because I study the period of time that I do, I'm thinking about people like Ferran Martinez, who literally went around preaching incendiary sermons that started pogroms that got like thousands upon thousands of people killed. So even soft power can be deadly. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I did
it's
point
one of
that
those
out.
things where I'm like, listen, you can be super devout, go for it, but this idea of like not being pluralist, that's the thing that I have the most like energy behind. It's like people are different than you. Cope with it. Literally just cope. Grow
Yeah.
up.
You don't even have to like it. You just have to be.
You don't have to like it. Just cope.
Yeah, just be okay.
Today it is
pause this.
Oh, he said.
Okay, he said that.
Fad said pause this, and then I paused it because I'm an idiot. What am I even doing here? Why does anyone watch this?
He published this 20 years after he discovered it.
Yeah, apparently.
That's bullshit.
I'm sorry. Do you have a different set of historical documents that you would like to bring forward, Fad? Do you have a different set of timings for the voyage of the Beagle and how long it was between that and the publication of The Origin of Species? Because that would be fascinating if you found out that actually the dates that everyone else has are wrong. Because otherwise, it doesn't seem like it is bullshit. It just seems like that's what happened. And I'm going to tell you now that there is a couple reasons that happened. One is that, one, Darwin was actually worried about upsetting his wife because while he was not particularly devout, my sure was. And so he didn't want to do that because he thought it might upset her. And also, he just wasn't sure that he had all of his ducks in a row. Darwin was not a terribly confident and self-assured individual. He was very much like a nervous nerd, and with his friends, yeah, there's some indication that he could be fun and outgoing and joking and whatnot. But when it came to like being in public and publishing his works, yeah, not so much.
But also, I mean, wasn't this just a period of incremental refinement? Guys, I thought that during this time, Darwin was still in the process of collecting various specimens of whatever he could get his hands on in terms of organisms and animals to refine his. Am I incorrect about that? That he was just this was just a process of further refinement.
So he did a lot less field research during those 20 years than he did in the years prior to that, but it wasn't none. But most of what he was doing was actually just refining the ideas after having done a lot of research. But he did still do some breeding experiments, and I don't remember if he went out and collected wild specimens during that time. But he certainly would have been able to study some. I don't know if he definitely did or not.
Now a lot of my information about Charles Darwin comes from a movie that was is a really, really good one. It was starring
Paul Bettany.
Yes, that one is excellent.
I knew it. Yeah.
Love that movie. So yeah. Forgive me if I am mixing lore with
with data,
with fact and data. Yeah.
You can't mix up data and lore. That's how you get into a lot of trouble.
It's true.
Like so much trouble. People die when you mix data and lore. And sometimes you start a Borg cult.
Can I tell you? I actually said those things. I think subconsciously without even realizing what I was talking about. It's wild.
Pat is mad for $2 says, "Why does anyone watch this? Crippling depression." Oof, sorry. But hey, you know what? I actually had people let me know that like my channel has helped with their various, problems, like mental health problems that they've not like helped in the sense of treated it, but like been something that's helped them get through rough patches. And you know what? I'm glad it's helped. It's not my intention to be that guy, but like find whatever you need to keep going. And if it's
Anon 314159, it says Voyage of the Beagle is in about 1831. So yeah, that's a good 10 or 11 years after one of the latest Inquisition offices closed.
Right-handed Sith says, well, data and lore do look alike. They do.
Exactly alike. You know,
that's actually why I liked when it turns out that in Lower Decks they were helping smuggle some Commander Data shampoo bottles, and Boimler says, "Are you sure none of these are lore?" And the guy who's like actually in charge of this one, he's like, "Yeah, some of them might be lore. Come on, let's go."
Come on, how do we even know this boat trip even happened?
I mean, we've got the logs of it. People paid for it.
Is
We're doing, like,
seriously?
yeah.
Is that really a question?
Yes,
like,
that's really.
for
I'm
real.
taking a drink. How do we know this boat trip happened?
He just asked that question.
Yep. And
how do we even know that? Oh
you know, this is the
God.
kind of guy who's going to take at face value the historicity of the Gospels.
Christ.
But then, and look, here's what I am not saying is that you're not allowed to do that. I don't really care that much. Historically, we have no particular way to verify anything that happens in the Gospels, and the fact that they contradict each other, I mean, that some of it is definitely ahistorical. But if you're going to be incredulous as to a boat voyage from like 200 years ago, but then you'd be like, yeah, but these, you know, late accounts from after someone's death that contradict each other from 2,000 years ago, absolutely historical, bro. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Can I just say Crown House?
All of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say Crown House 63, who says that lore is funnier. I didn't like lore as a character nearly as much as I like Data, and I think the reason for that was because of how on the nose he was in Brent Spiner's portrayal. And I think part of that is because I only knew Brent Spiner up to that point from his from his Data character, without realizing that that he tends to be a pretty over the top actor.
Yeah, which is weird when he's playing
things. I know, right? Like what is with that?
If you meet him in real life, he kind of has a reputation for being kind of a dick. So.
Yeah, he does. But also,
not surprising.
Someone should give me a count. How many characters in Star Trek has Brent Spiner played? Because I know it's a lot, and most of them have been from the same family. Because for some reason, that family, it's like the Targaryens from Game of Thrones. There's just no like actual reference to real world genetics. They just are all the same.
Yes.
Tatus Matt for $5 says the Voyage of the Beagle didn't happen, but you better goddamn believe Noah's Ark did. Not all boats are equal. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Like this guy is definitely someone who's like, oh, yeah, Noah's Ark, that's totally real. The Voyage of the Beagle, though, I don't know. How do we know? It's like, well, I mean,
so
records, like government records, ship records, books that were written by contemporaries. We don't have any evidence of anyone questioning this voyage. Where was Darwin for those 5 years? We have correspondence from him and his family.
Yeah.
Like, where did he go?
Can I take the opportunity here? Just because Tad is mad has brought it up. I'm going to anyways. This last week on Thursday evening, I read Genesis chapter 6, verse 9 through 15 on my Kiryat Brit reading Hebrew stream, which was tons of fun. But I like to point out that I really don't like the translation ark. I really don't. Properly, it's a box. The description in the story in Genesis chapter 6 is of a box. When the dimensions are of a box, a rectangular box. The word is used of the vessel that Moses' mother used to send him off into the Nile in, which also was a box, and of the box containing the tablets of the 10 words that were delivered by Moses to the sons of Israel from Mount Sinai. And yes, an ark is a box, but in our modern parlance, people don't understand this. They don't. They think it's a boat.
I don't disagree,
And
but I do want to
it's
give
not
a
a boat.
small amount of pushback and say that just defining something in terms of height, width, and length doesn't determine that it is in fact a rectangular box.
It is a rectangular box, though.
Okay,
And the reason
I'm not
we know
disagreeing.
this
I'm
is
just
because
saying that giving those
Okay.
dimensions doesn't mean that, because if I wanted to describe an actual boat's size, I
Listen,
would probably tell you the height
Dapper.
of the hull, the length of the hull, and the width of the hull. I'm not disagreeing with your
But-
conclusion. I'm just saying I
No.
don't think the
Okay.
measurements are evidence of that conclusion.
That's fine, but there is other evidence.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To show that
Like I
this is and maybe that's something I should have said.
I think you're right.
In the Atrahasis myth, he builds a box.
Yeah. No, I think
in
your
the story of
conclusion
Noah's
is right.
Ark.
I just don't
Sorry.
think that we can use the fact that
box.
3 dimensions were given as evidence, because people give those 3 dimensions for all sorts of things that are not just boxes.
That's fine, but it's a box.
All right, Tad is mad for $2. Says, Kip, don't box me in. Yeah, Kip, come on. What are you gonna be like that?
Just for you, Tad. Just for you.
I don't know. There's probably other people and stuff that were on the boat and like.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah,
There was a
thank-
whole crew. It wasn't just Darwin and the captain on a boat. I have taken another drink. What is this? Yeah, there were probably other people. Yeah, you think like the crew?
Records of the boat sailing, but
Yeah, there were records.
I'd love to see these records if they exist.
God damn.
I'd love to
This
see
guy
these
wants.
records
Oh,
if
this
they
is
exist.
This is Obama's birth certificate
Yeah.
all
The thing
over
is,
again, isn't it?
He could go fly to England. I'm sure that the physical letters are still there.
Probably all there.
Look, when I was getting my degree, one of the things I did was I went to the library and I went into the rare books and manuscripts area, and
It's fun to
I
do that.
requested the actual handwritten letters of a historical figure I was researching. I held in my hand the pieces of paper that he wrote on, and the pieces of paper that his friends wrote on to write back to him. If that's
up until
actually
that
something
time-
you want, Fad, you can just do that. You'll have to follow rules about safety and, not ripping up things,
But
but,
also,
just do it.
you don't even have to look at the physical originals because so much of this has been microfilmed and digitized. Like yesterday, I was
bet.
going through a repository
Yeah.
of rare manuscripts looking for whatever,
Mhm.
and I found a freaking letter written by Amerigo Vespucci.
But he's going to say,
So-
well, that could be
I bet you
faked.
could
That's
Google.
CGI.
Just
You could
my
probably
goodness.
Google that shit
Yeah.
for
And
for
it's
Darwin's
because it came from some
correspondences.
rich old dude's collection, and he was like, "Yeah, let me just donate this to a university."
Right,
So they
yeah.
scanned everything and digitized it. So
Yeah.
Also,
just
I-
look
so-
at it.
I also have to point out, if there were a really good chance that Darwin's voyage just didn't happen, well, first, if it didn't happen, that would mean nothing for the theory of evolution, because the theory of evolution doesn't rest on the reality of the voyage of the Beagle. It just doesn't. Kind of like how Christianity doesn't rest on the reality of the voyage of the Dawn Treader. So like it doesn't really matter, but like you think that some historians might have noticed that this famous sea voyage apparently just has no evidence at all that it ever actually happened outside of the word of like this one guy. Like you think someone would have noticed
because
that?
in this day and age, historian is just a label you assign yourself,
I mean,
regardless.
technically, I guess that can be
of
true
what
for
you-
anything. Kent Hovind said he was a
Yeah.
doctor of dinosaurs in the Bible.
Exactly.
I'm going to say I have a doctor's.
What a great-
I have a doctor's
love this
degree from
timeline.
Benthoven University in dinosaurs, so I'm a doctor of dinosaurs too. Put that out there.
Doctor Dinosaurology.
And if you don't, no, just of dinosaurs. It's a doctor's degree
okay.
of dinosaurs. It's not a doctorate. It's
Okay.
a doctor apostrophe
Doctor's
S degree.
degree.
It's
Okay.
they're of or in dinosaurs. Yep, that's what it is. And if you think that that's not it, I'm just going to let you know it is exactly as legitimate as Kent Hovin's degree.
I gotta ask though, Dapper,
Mhm.
before setting foot in the in the rare documents section of the library, were you extremely dubious that you would find correspondences between the people that you were
No, I
you
looked
were
it up beforehand to make sure
greatly
I knew where they
stressed
were.
about the possibility that these were in existence or that it was a giant hoax?
No,
Okay.
I was extremely confident that the inventory that the library had was reasonably accurate. I mean, and if I had found out otherwise, well, then that would have been a new twist to my paper that I was writing. my like, it was something crazy. Like it was like a 30-page paper. It was the entire semester's work was just to write this one paper. And yeah, I was not worried. Although I did have to go through security. I did have to like check my backpack and put it in a locker, and I was only allowed to have certain kinds of things inside that section. I could have a laptop. I couldn't have my phone. I couldn't have a pen. I could have a soft pencil if I wanted. I didn't. I could have like a notebook, not more than one. So like yeah, I had to go through some hoops and I had to request access. And yeah, it wasn't just like going down like the aisles of the regular section of the library where you can just pick up a book and no one's going to question why you have your phone. But like you can do these things. If you really want to find the original documents, just go do it. That's one of the things that bugged me when I had that debate about dinosaurs aren't real. It's like you can go look at real dinosaur bones. Like right now, you can just go do it. You don't have to look at the replicas. There are places where you can go and you can say, hey, I'm researching this topic. I would like to look at the actual fossils. And they'll probably escort you in. You're probably going to have to go through some security, but you can do it. And that's one of the things that I hate about a lot of conspiracy nonsense. Is like, these are questions you could answer for yourself. You would rather believe the conspiracy than check on its accuracy. I'm going to hit play on this, and we're... Oh, sorry. Go.
Before you do, just because this is tangentially related, but it's such a cool story, I think. My one of my mentors was Professor Martin Abegg, who in the 1990s, while still a PhD student, published with the Biblical Archaeology Society a fascicle volume of texts from the Cave 4 Dead Sea Scrolls that had not been published yet, and which he reconstructed using a concordance for the Dead Sea Scrolls that had been compiled over decades by the scholars who had been working on them since the 1940s. This was big news back in the 90s, but the cool thing about this story is that he did this in the first place as part of his PhD project because he was working on the War Scroll and he really needed to get a look at the Cave 4 copies of the War Scroll, but was unable to because at the time access to a lot of the unpublished Dead Sea Scrolls was extremely limited, and a lot of scholars were very upset about this. And so his supervisor, Ben Zion Wachholder, mentioned to him, there is a concordance that was compiled on recipe cards, much like a Strong's concordance, with every Hebrew word written in context and the reference on the card, like where to find it in which manuscript. He says, if we could get a hold of one of those, and I know they've made multiple copies on like a mimeograph, which is a thing that they used before photocopiers, right? Pretty wild. But he's like, I know there's a few of these copies floating around somewhere. And Marty just thought, we've got a great big library here at Hebrew Union College. I wonder if we've got one. And he checked, and it was in the stacks.
Nice.
It was just sitting there in the stacks. And he's like, I will just check these out and reconstruct the Dead Sea Scrolls. So,
we've got a few chats here. Metageeky Platypus Librarian says for $5, Dapper has a doctorate in dinosaur. He ate a PhD holder with a Godzilla, a Ghidorah, a Mothra, a magic tunicate, and a trans flag. And I will say, no, I have a doctor's degree in dinosaurs. You gotta get it right. But we will take a drink. Thank you very much. All right, and then Tad is Mad for $5 says, Dapper's dinosaur doctorate starts with, it's not a doctorate, it's a doctor's degree. Come on, stop saying doctorate. I don't have one of those. I have a doctor's degree, which we specifically put on the fake, diploma, because that's how Kent says it. He says, I have a doctor's degree. It's like, okay, Kent, cool. Dapper Dinosaur's doctorate starts with, hello, my name is Dapper Dinosaur. Oh, I have more characters. Drake is lame because he's corny as F. Okay. Now there's a big long name. What is this? Sapphire, pause this. Sapphire, pause this like for $5 says, Beagle mythicism is so passé. Darwin mythicism is where the real action is. Mothra emoji here. Take a drink for that Mothra emoji. Thank you very much. You know, there are actually, I don't actually know of any real Darwin mythicists, but there are Muhammad mythicists. It's always weird to me. Let's see. And then, did we get all? Oh, there's a noise ending. I'm not sure. For $5 says, just doing my part to help unleash Dr. Kill. Love the channel. Thanks for keeping me company while sick on the couch. Well, I am sorry to hear that you are feeling ill. Hope that you get better. So yeah. All right. Let's actually we're gonna just go on a quick break because I am almost out of this beer. And hey, I have 3 more beers. You guys could force me to get through it. You know. All right, we'll be on a quick break, and you can enjoy the musical stylings of Benthoven, who is not here today, by the way. I mean, he's around. He's just not in the stream. There seemed to be some confusion about that, and I don't understand why. But that's okay. We'll be right back. We are back, everyone. I definitely said we are back without unmuting myself because I suck at this. I'm a professional, so we'll take a drink for it.
I really want free pizza.
Well, move in to Ben's house. And then I'll include you in the Ben Gets Free Pizza.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. Contact Bent, because he'll be the one who you'll want to talk to. But there is another room that you could live in if you wanted to.
Nice.
It's got whales on the wall.
Really?
Yeah, painted on there is like a mural.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
Whales.
Whales. Still moving in.
Wait, are whales a downside? Or are you like, I don't know about whales?
I mean, you see my drab gray walls that match the color of the sky.
I just assumed that was because you had no artistic talents.
That is also true. I have none. Well, wait a minute. That's not entirely true because I actually drew maps for my book
That's
and
technical
a
knowledge.
reconstruction of.
That's technical stuff.
But it requires some artistic skill.
It requires
to be
drafting
able
skill.
to do that. So I actually used to draw in high school.
I don't believe.
It's true. I have pictures. Maybe for next week, I will dig up some Kip Davis originals
Wow.
that I still have kicking around.
And then I'll probably get shut down for violating community standards
by
YouTube.
What are you expecting?
It'll be ugly, so ugly that they'd start driving people mad, like their Pikmin's paintings from Pikmin's model.
This is quality work from a 16-year-old boy.
I'm expecting it to be Pikmin's model level of like just insanity-inducing nonsense.
Boy,
my stream will become an info hazard.
Surprised.
Or no, technically a cognito.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tad. You should definitely move to America. Nothing is wrong here now. Yeah, what am I thinking?
America's a great place for everyone.
I lost my mind for a moment. So
yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone even visit America right now, but like you did recently.
I did it successfully.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'll be honest. First time in my I've been Southside a lot. First time in my entire life that I worried about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, people visited Germany in the 1930s and managed to get back just fine. So like, then again, some people didn't. So you know,
yeah,
taking matters into your own hands, or letting your life be taken into other people's hands you shouldn't be trusting. Anyway, we are back. Real quick, I want to say, hey, thank you so much for all the support for the channel. You guys are the reason that the channel, like you watching, are the reason the channel can keep going. If you are interested in helping the channel out in a more regular basis, we have the channel Patreon and the memberships. Memberships has a join button. Patreon, there's a link in the description. Patreon starts at $1 a month. Memberships start at $1.99 a month. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount if you go annually. Both of them get you early access to scripted videos, one of which should be coming out next week. You also get access to my Discord server, which is actually a pretty fun place, I think, overall. Yeah, there's that. Also, if you want to help out, liking, sharing, putting comments on videos always really does help a lot. And I have found out recently, apparently you have to interact with my videos enough before you can see the hype button on my videos when they're new. So apparently, if you're not seeing the hype video, it's because you're not leaving enough comments or likes or shares on the videos. So do those things more and you'll get a hype button. Allegedly. I don't know that I trust YouTube. Let's see.
Okay.
And then I also want to say, if you want to help out additionally, or in, just not in addition to that, but just in this way, you can also help render for me. The way that I get my animations done is with a render firm called Sheepit. Sheepit basically works so that when I render someone else's frames, I get points. When someone else renders my frames, it costs me points. And how high in priority my frames are for my animations is dependent on how many points I have versus how many points the other people with projects up on Sheepit have. Which means overall, the more points I have, the more high priority my frames are. And so if you want to help me get higher in that priority, you can download the Sheepit client from a link in the description under the How to Render for Me section. Put in the login information there, and what that will tell Sheepit is that your computer that's doing Sheepit rendering, those points should go to my account. The key that's in there just allows you to log in as me for the purpose of rendering, but it doesn't allow you to add projects on my account, delete projects on my account, delete the account, join teams on Sheepit, or anything else like that. So you don't get any like actual access to my account per se, but you do get to have those points count for me. And in terms of what does that cost you, it's basically like running a video game in terms of like the work that your computer has to do. So yeah, what some people do is they'll turn it on at night and they'll just let it run, and then it'll use those what would otherwise be idle cycles on their GPU for me. And yeah, there you go. Turkey Sloth 121, who's been a member for 26 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says, any clue where to put the AIG as a bag of dicks I just found? I have some ideas, but I'm not going to say them. All right, that's a drink. All right, here we go. Let's get back to this apparent Voyage of the Beagle skepticism for some reason. Actually, it's just denialism. Let's be fair. It's not skepticism.
Yeah, that's a point, I guess. But I think the more important point is like, who like he took a boat trip and seen birds with different sized beaks. Like, I don't understand why that has become the entire.
Clearly, you do not.
Clearly, he
understand.
doesn't understand.
It turns out though that Nick, you not understanding something really doesn't have any bearing on whether or not it's true or anything. In fact, even if Darwin did not collect sufficient evidence to support his hypothesis, it doesn't actually matter that it's that would be the case. If Darwin had made all that up, it actually still wouldn't matter, because we have data now, and the data overwhelmingly support common ancestry, natural selection, sexual selection, genetic drift, mutation, and all that. Olivia Williams Purple Fairy for 5 beaver bucks says, I doubt YouTube. I have a hard time imagining how I could be more active on your channel, and yet I see no hype button on now. Well, there shouldn't be one on this one, because this is not a new scripted video. This is a stream. As far as I know, they only go up on scripted videos that are newly made public. So you shouldn't have one on this one. But also there's a Ghidorah there, so we'll take a drink for that. Thank you very much. Kip, we're not on track for you to be unleashed. We're only at 14 out of 30, and we're past the halfway point.
Damn it.
I know. I'm sorry.
I've been working very hard.
I know. I appreciate it. And I'll bet that
it's hurting my eyes.
Vishanti has probably dropped like 5 or 6 F-bombs here.
I expect. I
have not. I've
less.
actually been quite well behaved today.
Basis of human knowledge ever since then. And
well, I'm saying he discovered it 20 years before he wrote it, and he was too fucking lazy to even write a book down for it. Like, come on, man, you didn't write a book for 20 years.
Actually, he was writing. We have a lot of correspondence, but also look, Kip hasn't written a book for 20 years either. It's fine.
I was just gonna say, dickhead, on the video,
right?
How many goddamn books have you written?
Just like, well, maybe he's not 20 yet. Maybe he's only 19. It's not time.
Maybe. I mean, it could be.
Can't rule it out.
Can't tell from this.
I mean, he certainly talks like someone who I would expect to be 19, if I'm being fair.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he was like finalizing it and researching it and making sure that everything fit the right pieces.
Finalizing it.
I don't know. I honestly,
like seriously, it sounds like there's air quotes around. Like they're doing this while saying this stuff.
Imagine thinking that being rigorous and trying to figure out if you actually have a good idea or not is like seen as a bad thing by these people. Like you should just go with whatever your first idea is.
How many F-bombs I have dropped in my head in the course of the last.
I might have an idea, because while I am very good about not saying them out loud, my internal monologue is a bit spicier than my external dialogue would indicate. I was a sailor, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah. If I want to, I can curse with the best of them.
I personally have never read.
I'm a drummer, so
yeah,
that I can keep up.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a Canadian for whatever that's worth.
Can't curse at all.
Yeah.
Species by Charles Darwin, so I can't really say too much on it because I've never read it myself. But
dude, it's not that long of a book.
Jeez,
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're gonna sit here and complain about this book this much, and you haven't even freaking read it? It's not that hard a book to read. Just go read it. It's public domain. You can read it for free online in every single one of the 6 editions that came out. You can pick your favorite edition.
Does that include the Ray Comfort edition?
I'm gonna hit play. I'm about to drop an F-bomb, and I don't wanna.
I definitely don't believe in Darwinistic evolution. That's for sure.
You don't seem to know what Darwinistic evolution is.
Did he call it Darwinistic?
Yeah.
Or did he just say Darwistic?
I thought he said Darwinistic, but maybe he said Darwistic, and I just assumed that he said it right.
It could just be an audio thing, but I'm going to assume that he said it wrong. Because at this point, that's all this guy gets.
The thing is, like, if you're gonna say like I don't believe in this Darwinistic whatever, Oh, but it's written in German, says Medieval's library. Yeah. So said John Sanford, which was just a lie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does Fear Punch a Nazi Monger really not know about this?
Yeah, so Ray Comfort gave out what I think are 6th edition copies of The Origin of Species, but it had like his weird intro like to it attached, which was basically just a bunch of preaching. And then if I remember correctly, I think there were footnotes with like attempted like counter arguments. And the weird thing about this is like that only makes sense if you think that like The Origin of Species is like a Bible to evolutionary biologists. But it's not. It just isn't. Like, no one has to sit down and read The Origin of Species in order to understand evolutionary biology. In fact, I've talked to people who teach evolution at a college level, and most of them don't assign anything by Darwin, because there's no need to. It's just like when you're going and taking physics, you don't need to sit and read, like, Principia Mathematica from Newton in order to understand what's going on. You just get taught calculus and precalculus and Newtonian mechanics and whatnot, and it's fine. None of that depends on the actual words of Newton. So it's this thing where creationists like to assume that the way they treat the Bible is the way the evolutionists treat The Origin of Species, which it's just not. It turns out that if every single thing that Darwin ever wrote was based on just him making up a voyage, and that everything in the book was just his ramblings on the basis of nothing, it wouldn't actually change anything. Turns out, a lot of his ramblings turned out to correspond to reality pretty well. So, who cares where it came from?
Okay, let's continue.
All right. There's not very much left of this video. There's only like 30 seconds.
He is still considered to have been an obsessive collector and a perfectionist.
We can't say the same.
Darwin was not well versed in genetics. His theory...
Well, no one was well versed in genetics, their documentary guy, because genetics wasn't even a real field at the time.
These were based purely on observation.
Some of those... Oh, wait. Some of those are big bugs, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrified of big bugs.
Well, you should not go to New Zealand where they have the biggest bugs.
Oh, the Wettas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you missed that part of the strip. I lived there for a while.
How did you deal with it?
Didn't see many, but didn't see many. That's
probably good for you.
It was very good.
They must have been created in Mordor. That's where New Zealand.
This was before its creation in Mordor. So
the greenhouse in his garden. Darwin often called his entire family here to help him with his experiments.
They also helped Darwin with some of his experiments in the garden as well. For example, chasing bumblebees through the meadow, dusting them with flour so that they could pick them out, and chasing them through the meadow as a team, really.
That sounds like the most fun thing ever.
Right?
Hey, kids,
I want to chase bumblebees through a meadow.
Sprinkle them with flour.
That is so pure. I want to do that. That is cool. Let's chase bumblebees through a meadow.
Do it. Go do it.
Charles Darwin.
Sounds like
his theory of evolution changed forever.
Yeah, I'm sure the bees are tortured by being dusted by flour.
The way we view life on Earth.
Wow, dude, that is crazy to me. His little shanty greenhouse where he
what a crazy video.
I love how let's insult the greenhouse as if that matters. I'm just taking a drink for guys. What if we criticize the most superficial things about this? That makes us right about our science denial. No, it doesn't. That's not how that works. Let's see. Dutch Tunicate official who's been a member for 19 months says, I got a new summer activity. There you go. Chasing them bumblebees. Just don't get stung. That sucks.
Experiments with
it feels that does sound fun, but maybe it's where I live. It feels like the wasps and the hornets outnumber the bees 100 to 1. And
that's because out in the frozen north, you don't really have flowers much. So all that can survive are the wasp and the hornet.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You should just live someplace that has flowers instead of snow.
They are just the biggest assholes in insect history. I mean, as far as I can tell.
I mean, have you ever met a velvet ant?
No. Do you think they're worse than
Okay, well,
than
technically,
wasps?
velvet ants are wasps, but then again, so are ants and so are bees. So, like, I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, really? Wow, bees too?
Bees are
Taxonomy's
wasps.
BS.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just vibes.
Yeah. Well, okay, no, the common names are just vibes. Taxonomy is much, much more rigorous than vibes. But if you want wasp to mean anything in terms of taxonomy, then basically all hymenopterans are wasps, including ants and bees. So, yeah.
Okay.
Ted is mad says, Dapper...
You're going to tell me something... Go ahead.
Ted is mad says, Dapper, this is a Flurf quality video. Yeah, that's exactly right. I wanted to show off the absolute bottom of the barrel of Young Earth creationist content. When I saw this video, I was like, oh no, we have to do this. And I was only introduced to this because that asshole Steve McRae went on this guy's channel to go be a transphobe.
God damn. You were going to tell me something. You've piqued my interest now about velvet ants. And you didn't tell me anything about them.
So they are wingless wasps that are solitary and live in the warmer parts of North America. They are very fuzzy and cute looking, and they have bright colors. Also, they're called cow killer ants because one sting is enough to drop a full-grown cow.
Yeah, but I think it's worthwhile pointing out, as Pibblepunk does, that velvet ants can't fly at you and chase you down.
It's true, they can't. But if they sting you, you're going to be out of commission for days, in writhing agony for days. And there's not much a doctor can do.
That does sound terrible.
Don't get stung by them.
They can't fly yet.
Well, anymore. Their ancestors could fly. But they can't. Because flight is the default condition for wasps, in case that wasn't clear.
Dirty little kids, like, that is what we based our whole scientific principle and evolution on?
No, it's not.
Dapper, it's like angels somewhere were like seeing the chaos that these specific ant wasps, whatever we're causing, and they just went up to God and they're like, OP, please nerf.
God was just like, all right, I'll take the wings. Although there are still other winged wasps that have similar but less powerful stings. Yeah, there's some wasps out there you do not want to get stung by. Velvet ants just happen to be one of the worst. There's also bullet ants. Those are technically wasps. And they have a sting that's called... They're called bullet ants because of how their sting feels. Apparently, people who have both been shot and have had bullet ant stings feel like those are similar levels of pain.
Are you kidding me, dude? Like, he said he was a visual learner. He learned well from visualizing stuff and seeing stuff. Well, in his day, in the day of Charles Darwin, they thought like a human cell was something like a blob of jello. Okay. Like if you looked at a human cell through the technology, through the microscopes they had back then, it would just look like a gelatinous blob.
I mean, it is a gelatinous blob. It's just a gelatinous blob with lots of bits in it. It's kind of like aspic. Cells are like aspic. Dapper Dinosaur, 2025. There you go. But like, what does that change? Because this is one of those things that creationists love to do. They're like, well, look how complicated the cell is. It's like, all right, what part of the cell being complicated means that natural selection isn't? Is it none part of it? Yeah, that's exactly what part of it. It doesn't matter what the cell has inside of it. That doesn't make natural selection not real. What are we doing here? They're just completely unrelated concepts. I don't get it. You might as well say that football isn't real because of how complicated the cells of football players are. Like, well, I mean, they are complicated, but I just don't see why that makes football fake. How do we get from one to the other? I don't know. Now, sometimes a more sophisticated take would be, well, the cell is too complicated to have evolved all on its own. Therefore, well, natural selection might be real. Clearly, there has to have been some intelligent design way back at the beginning. Like, okay, that's a different argument, and sure, maybe that's a discussion we could have. I don't think that works either. But, like, when we're talking about the common ancestry of, like, humans and chimpanzees, and you're going to tell me the cell is too complicated, then what you're telling me is, like, you're okay with eukaryote common ancestry. So humans and chimps, sure, fine. Humans and fungi, sure. Humans and pine tree, sure. But humans and bacteria, if that's where your quibble is, then just say that that's where your quibble is. But I know it's not, right? If I ask Nick, hey, do you think that humans share a common ancestry with chimpanzees? He's going to say no, even though he's defaulting to an argument that would allow for common ancestry between humans and dandelions. Because if your argument is the eukaryotic cell is too complex, well then that takes us all the way back to eukaryote common ancestry, which is something I know no creationist actually is willing to accept. Even the ones who accept a lot more common descent than most other ones, like Michael Behe, who thinks that like all giraffes, like giraffeids probably had a common ancestor, and humans might have had a common ancestor with other apes. Even he is not going to be okay with eukaryote level common ancestry. He's not even okay with phylum level common ancestry, as far as I can tell. Tad is Matt for $2 says, cells are blobs, therefore evolution is fake. Yeah, like, what even is this argument? It's such a weird argument. It's like when flat earthers talk about dark matter, when they're trying to say, like, why they don't believe in, like, reality. Like, dude, you think the earth is flat. We are so far from talking about dark matter that it's hard to even understand why you would bring it up. Like, you're not ready for the dark matter conversation. You don't think that the solar system exists. Never mind other galaxies. Like, this is a problem this is a proposed solution for why galaxies do what they do. You don't think that space is real, my bro. What are you talking about? Dark matter. That's where we are with this. Like, you don't think humans and chimpanzees have common ancestry. I don't give a goddamn what you think about the complexity of the eukaryotic cell.
We know so much more nowadays about how complex one human cell is and like how complex the human body is. Like,
it's true. We do know a whole lot more. Take a drink. You know what that hasn't done to anyone who knows what they're talking about? Dissuade them from the idea of common ancestry or natural selection or any of the other processes in evolution. It turns out nothing we've discovered is a problem for that. Let's see. Philipunk says, are you telling me an elephant and a pine tree are related? I sure am, even though a pine tree and an elephant can't mate and have babies. Although I would be interested to get like a pine-scented elephant. That would be pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure if Charles Darwin had the crazy electronic computer microscopes and the crazy technology that we have nowadays, and he looked at how complex the human cells and stuff were, I don't think he would feel the same way.
Well, that's weird because a lot of the people who do have the crazy scanning electron microscopes do think that way. So what makes you think Darwin would be different?
You're being charitable. A lot. It feels like many more, like virtually all of them.
It is basically
I guess
all of them.
that is technically a lot, but yeah.
It's so close to all of them that the people who don't accept that are a rounding error like 4 or 5 decimal places down.
They could fit in a box.
Well,
see that? That's a callback.
They could fit, in an arc.
A big box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? It is possible to read, within a few years, every single bit of creationist literature from every single creationist author who's ever published, and you could fit that many humans inside, like, a single conference. Not a small one, but, like, the kind
of gigantic box.
Like, the kind of conference that you would have for, like, a professional conference. You could fit all of the creationists who've written scientific creationist works, including the ID types, into a single, like, conference center meeting room. Do you know what it would take to read all of the evolutionary biology literature and to fit all of the evolutionary biologists who have ever lived into a single room? You would probably need several stadiums, and you will not live long enough to read all that literature. It's not possible. You will die sooner than read all of it, because it would take you centuries. So when I say there are no young Earth creationist scientists, or when I say that everyone who has a scanning electron microscope seems to disagree, it's technically not true. But just like you can find anyone with any belief, if you look hard enough, that doesn't mean that that's what's generally characteristic of the population. And you could round off the number of creationists to 0 in the scientific, community. As a whole of, say, like, the United States population, or as a whole of, like, the population of the Anglosphere, or even as a population of like the Western world, because I do happen to know there's a fair bit of Spanish language and Portuguese language creationism that goes on. It's not that insignificant. But when it comes to people who know what they're talking about, it is virtually unheard of.
About this evolution that he did back then.
The fact is, I honestly believe he's a con man.
Yeah, that could be too.
Okay.
I believe he's not lying. I believe he honestly thinks that.
Yeah, I don't know why it is.
Man.
Yeah, well, I think he does believe that, but like, why would the sincerity of Charles Darwin matter? Right? It doesn't. If I tell you as a way to trick you that I actually don't think that phlogiston is real, I actually think that what fire is it's actually a rapid oxidation event. Even if I'm lying to you because I think phlogiston is real, I'm still telling you the truth. It doesn't matter. When you go test fire and you remove the oxygen, it's still going to go out. You're still not going to be able to find any uncombusted phlogiston. So, like, if Charles Darwin is a con man, it doesn't matter. Nothing about Darwin actually matters to science. Darwin is of historical importance. He's actually not of scientific importance, except when it comes to the history of science. Just like Newton isn't actually important to science. He's important to the history of science. Just like Einstein is important to science. He's important to the history of science. Science isn't about great men or great women. It's about data and evidence and hypothesis and rigorous double checking.
Even without Darwin, we still would have landed on universal common ancestry. Like,
well, Russell Wallace,
we still would have done that anyway because they were all circling around it at that period of time. He landed on it and published it first. But even then, other people were doing this kind of work. We were going to figure it out. And genetics.
You know, it's times like this when I wish that English had a word that well translated to chiron in Greek, which is like the appropriate or appointed time for a thing. It's like when it's time for dinner, it's the chiron for dinner.
Kep knows it's moed.
Yeah. Well, that's not an English word. I wish there was a word in English that was common use that had that same meaning, because it was kind of that for evolution to, natural selection to come into the scientific community. All the data was kind of being collected. People were thinking about similar ideas. Wallace was about to publish basically the same idea at the same time. It was just the time for that to become something that we understood. And it doesn't matter that Darwin was the one who did it.
I don't believe he discovered shit. I just think he just made it all up.
I mean, he described a whole bunch of species that are still considered actual species. Do you think that...
What does that even mean? What? He made it all up.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that he made up his discoveries on the Beagle. But the problem is that there are a number of species, like dozens and dozens of species, that if you look up that species, like even if you go to Wikipedia, right, it will tell you who first described that species, named it, and when. A bunch of species still say Darwin 1930 whatever. Right? So do those species that currently exist that you could go out and look at in the wild that were described by Darwin, do you think those were made up? Do you think there are no tanagers in the Galapagos Islands that were named by Darwin? Do you think there are no tortoises in South America or anything that were named by Darwin? Like, what do you think is happening? And I get it. We're not going to get into the people who lived there already knew about these things. That's true. Those people were not writing in scientific journals about biology. So, now, whether or not that's fair, probably not. Doesn't matter. Darwin's still the first one who's scientifically published on these species. Were those made up? I tagged Nick here in the description of this, kind of in hopes that he might show up in chat, because Nick, if you ever watch this, I want to know, do you think that these species are made up? Let's go to Google real quick. Species.
While you're doing that, I will share with everyone that I rode on the back of a tortoise when I was a kid.
Nice.
I believe it was in the United States somewhere.
That sounds about right. Let's see. What is a good one? Because he named hundreds of barnacles. Ridiculous. Why is Darwin always naming barnacles? Hated barnacles. Let's see. Why is everything a barnacle?
That's probably the name of next week's stream.
Why is everything a barnacle?
Yeah.
This is all barnacles.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll just pick a barnacle, I guess. Fine. Okay. Here's a barnacle species. Notomegabalanus decorus. Described by Charles
Summon
Darwin.
some demons in here.
Yeah, seriously, in 1854. It's often called the pink barnacle. It is a species of acorn barnacle in the family Balanidae. Nick, does that species of barnacle exist? Let me know. Do you think it's made up? Is this picture here on Wikipedia CGI that was made by the Darwinists? What's your actual hypothesis here?
I want to show people this chart. So what you're seeing, guys, on the screen right now, this is a chart. You can go look up any other chart you want. I just found it on Google. This is from a secular university. This is what evolution.
He's actually
Is
right
it
about
from
that. It is.
It's from a university. Which
I don't remember which one, but I did look it up and I found it on a website that was run by. It has some problems, but like is reasonably accurately describing it. So I'll take a drink.
This actually believe. Me and Dogs were kind of laughing about this before the show started. So at the very top, it's kind of hard to see, but the very top, this is how they say we started out as a self-replicating RNA molecule. So this little thing, this came out of nowhere, and this.
No, you're misreading this chart.
See,
what that says is protocells, and the plus signs indicate traits gained at certain points. So it's not that is a self-replicating RNA molecule. It's that at around the protocell stage, protocells that were already engaging in metabolic activity, which we have produced in the lab, also incorporated self-replicating RNA molecules, becoming the first cell-like things to exist, and therefore really kicking off what we think of as cellular life.
Also, isn't it just the way for apologist types like this to internalize everything and make this about them?
Oh yeah,
this is how we started.
I do want to give him one.
Technically true, but
thing,
I mean,
though, this does end with Homo sapiens at the very bottom of the chart.
Sure.
So it is
didn't end with him though.
No, not him in particular.
Yeah.
So, but by saying we, I'm going to give him enough charity to say he means humans. And while at this point, yes, this is the common ancestry of like all living things, as you go down the chart, it gets closer and closer to just humans. So, like, it is certainly the case that there is a type of person who wants everything to be about them. But as long as we assume that by we he means humans, then he is right that this chart is about that. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to give Nick as much charity as I can, because it's not going to be much. Because as we go through this, we will see that when I said in the first episode of this, that these guys were worse than Raw Matt in terms of how dumb they are, I was not exaggerating. I mean, we've already got Voyage of the Beagle mythicism here.
Why?
Not a phrase I thought I would ever hear.
Right?
No.
We might as well have just George Washington mythicism. He's from even longer ago. How do we know he existed? Oh, you have his grave? Prove
Delaware
it. Prove
double confirmed.
Yeah, actually, George Washington was real. He just got really stretched out when he went through the special tree.
Mm-hmm.
This was the starting of our life. Obviously, they don't know where it came from or how it started.
It's previous chemistry of non-living things. The fact that this chart doesn't start with the Big Bang doesn't mean that it's wrong. And even if it did start with the Big Bang, you would just ask, where did that come from? Whenever you ask about the history of something, it's never going to go back to the very first prime mover of the entirety of existence. That's not how anything really works, and it's not necessary. If I tell you where this beer came from, I'm going to talk to you about the brewery. I'm not going to talk to you about the evolution of wheat, because it's a wheat beer. Like, I don't have to start the history of the beer I'm drinking with the Big Bang. I can start it at the brewery. That's fine. And the fact that I started at the brewery doesn't mean that wheat beer can't exist because I didn't tell you the entire evolutionary history of wheat and of brewer's yeast and of like how glass came to be and like the formation of silicon molecules in a dead star or the Big Bang. Like, that's not how anything works, dude. You look up a chart about the evolution of humans, it starts where you have about evolution taking over, which is after the first life form. That it starts there isn't a point against it. If you wanted to know where life came from, you should have looked up something other than the evolution of humans. I'm taking a drink. I just can't stand this, like, well, and then? It's like, dude, you're not 4. This is literally the kind of thinking that a toddler figures out is a bad idea by the time they stop being a toddler. Don't be a toddler.
Because I don't know about you dogs, but I've never seen non-living matter create something that is living.
No, me neither. It's
okay, cool. Even if that didn't happen.
Well, if he hasn't seen it happen, it's not possible.
Yeah, there is that.
Also,
lots of
any
things.
future discoveries need to be run by him personally.
Like, I've never seen a volcano erupting. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Now, Kip might think it doesn't happen. But, you know, Kip's weird. So, but, yeah. And also, even if it couldn't happen, that it might be a miracle that life came about in the first place doesn't negate anything else on this chart. Actually, anything on this chart. Even if that part was a miracle, the whole rest of it can still be true. Because, like, look, lots of people think, like, the start of the Big Bang, that was God starting off the universe. And, like, I don't know that you could say that that's a scientific conclusion to reach. But, like, I can't stop you from reaching it. And even if it's true, it doesn't change anything else about the history of the universe. It doesn't change how the Earth formed. It doesn't change how life came about. If you want to stick a miracle at the beginning of some process, okay, fine. That doesn't change the rest of it. Like, if I wanted to bake a cake, but my flour came as a result of a direct miracle from God creating flour ex nihilo in my flour bag, the process of baking that cake is going to be the same. The flour came about magically. Okay, cool.
physically impossible.
Okay,
there's a big difference between I've never seen it happen and I don't understand how it could, and it's physically impossible. If you want to say it's physically impossible, you're going to have to give reasons why it would violate some law of physics. And as far as I can tell, there is no one who has proposed a law of physics or a collection of laws of physics that would be broken by proposed mechanisms of abiogenesis. So, yeah.
I get like smaller insects reproducing and all that, but that has nothing to do with our production because they.
That's true. Smaller insects reproducing has nothing to do with our production. Good job, buddy. You figured that one out. I don't know who said it did. I don't know why you think that's a thing to point out. Many things manage to reproduce, and that does not directly have anything to do with the evolution of humans. In fact, I would argue that like just about everything that's alive right now that isn't a human that reproduces has nothing to do directly with the evolution of humans. Like the saguaros outside. I live in a place with saguaros. They reproduce. Doesn't really have anything to do with.
I don't even know what those are.
They're the biggest cactus in the world, Kip. They're the best cactus.
Really?
They're what you think of when you think of a cactus.
Yeah.
Oh,
big, tall ones
like
with the arms that
so
come
these
out.
are the Roadrunner cactuses.
Yeah, they're actually not even close to the most common cactus. We have way more.
No, I didn't think they were.
We have way more prickly pears and barrel cactus. Also, other kinds of organ cactus because they're part of a group of organ cacti. Yeah,
it's they're completely different, you know.
Yeah, or anything for that matter.
Yeah, the common ancestor of humans and insects lived in the Precambrian, so we're talking about like 500 million years or so. I would expect that two lineages that diverged about 500 million years ago would reproduce very differently, and they do to a large extent. So, yep, that checks out. Also, I want to point out where we are on this chart. We still have not actually gotten to the common ancestor of humans and insects. We're still at the common ancestor of all animals towards the bottom there. So, yeah.
Anything living, even a small insect, like one cell or molecule from a fly. How do you get any living matter out of non-living matter? Like, it just doesn't.
Do you think he knows that all the molecules that make up those cells are in fact non-living matter, and they make up a cell which is in fact living matter? Because anything that's subcellular isn't alive. So, Yeah. In fact, I would argue that all you see is non-living matter creating living matter, because molecules aren't alive. And yet you're composed of molecules. And so are those tiny insects. I also don't actually believe that these guys know how insects work. Like, I'm pretty sure if I were to ask them, like, okay, here is a scorpion fly. Please explain its reproductive cycle to me. I don't think they would be able to. Also, scorpion flies are really cool, and they're not scorpions.
Doesn't happen. Something has to create it or produce.
I mean, they do count as life, but at the same time, and they do have their.
Thank you for admitting that small insects are alive, Fad. It was a really big burning question that I had. These really are the dumbest people I've encountered doing this. Even Raw Matt would say something like, well, I don't think they have the breath of life, but like they're alive in the same sense that, like, you know, like plants or fungi are. I'd be like, well, that's dumb, but at least you're admitting that they are actually alive.
Have their uses for the food chain and all that. I'm not going to deny the food chain and all that, but
well, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for not denying that things eat things.
They are not food chain mythicists, at least.
Just the beagle mythicists. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel the need to express that you're not denying that the food chain exists, maybe reassess what you're doing right now. Dutch Student Official for $2 says, do you think they think bacteria are alive? Okay, I want to say yes. But the problem is that they don't seem to be very convinced that the voyage of the Beagle happened. And, like, so at this point, like, I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say yes. And I'm going to say yes for now, for my own mental health and for nothing else.
Let's be for real. For real. A lot of those insects
for real.
have the smallest IQ in the world. Do you?
What? Has anyone given them an IQ test? How would you even determine that?
You can't measure an insect's IQ. But also, what does that have to do with anything?
Insects are stupid, therefore evolution didn't happen.
Right. Like, how smart do insects have to be in order for evolution to make sense? Like, how does that even work? I don't get it. Yeah.
We haven't seen these guys on camera yet, so I don't know. I will just point out, Maya, that they might just be actual koalas.
It's possible. Did the stream go down or something? Like, I thought something weird happened on my end. No? Okay, good. All right. Then it was just on my end.
I actually think they know what they're doing when it comes to their part in evolution.
No one thinks any animal or other organism knows what it's doing in the grand history of evolution. They're just going around surviving, trying to reproduce. And those ones that are most successful of it, that's the traits that will get to be in the next generation. It's pretty simple, right? Like, let's say
even the concept of trying to reproduce is something they're just
it depends, yeah.
You know what I mean? It just
it's not actually obvious the degree to which that's like something things are cognizant of.
Yeah.
Like when a deer enters like mating season, do they understand that that's causally linked to the following pregnancy?
I got to do this because this is the time, and because so in the brief time that I was a creationist, I think this is sort of how I again, because there's this sense, I think, and this is a human trait, right, to internalize or to personify lots of things that we just don't understand intuitively. So I feel like that's what I was always doing, in the ways in which, on a very anecdotal level, evolution was described to me. You had that sense, but it just you just have to learn some things.
That's something that I don't think these two know how to do.
No.
And let's remember, Nick here is a guy, and I assume Fat is too, who just swallows every bit of nonsense that Ron Wyatt has ever put out. So, like, we're talking about some Ron Wyatt like enthusiasts, and who back that up with the occasional AI generated image of something that Ron Wyatt says he. Yeah, Metageeky Platypus Librarian says for $2.
Excellent.
What is this? An IQ test for ants? With an ant and a Ghidorah emoji. Oh, I will take a drink for that.
Good. Who's this? An IQ test for ants?
Oh, wait. No, that's wrong. No, don't pay attention to that. Dapper's a professional. Never mind. We didn't get that. Sorry.
Wow.
I put 3 in instead of the 3 for the number in
Also,
one's place.
Yeah, Peter Sage in the chat says reproduction of the okayist by, Forrest Valkai talks a lot about that. It's like, yeah, there's really not a lot of high bars to clear. It's, can you reproduce? If the answer is yes, it doesn't really matter what else you got going on. As long as you get to a stage where you can reproduce and pass on your genes.
Mm-hmm. And it's really not that hard to figure out. Like, okay, say you've got 20 of whatever animals, right? And we'll say they're dogs, right? And for whatever reason, the dogs with yellow fur are the only ones that have puppies. What is the next generation of dogs going to look like? It's going to be a bunch of yellow fur, most likely. Okay, what is the other option that you think is available to you? Like, that's just how that's how math works. It's not even nature, it's just math. Natural selection and genetic drift are inevitable mathematically, but Regios just gifted 20 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. So while I try to take 20 drinks...
That's amazing.
What I'm going to say is, Pip, I need you to explain to us why it is that you think that a Gorn was your best choice for your player character species.
So mostly because you wouldn't let me be a Romulan. He wouldn't, and I was very frustrated by that fact, and I was under pressure to do this because of time constraints, and that goddamn book full of characters was gigantic. And I mean, Gorns are cool. They're big lizards that have the cool eyes and shit. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. But secretly, everyone should just think of me as a Romulan. Okay, and it's Dapper's fault. And
as someone who is pro Team Romulan, I do need to take just a moment to dedicate a little something to our friend Jillian Wren.
As Jillian Wren says, you do this to me on the day of my birth for $2. Well done.
No one keep that thing on me.
But Kip, there were Romulans in the session yesterday.
There were.
I believe you knocked one of them out.
I wasn't one of them, so I did. I clawed one to death.
That's not technically true. You did not kill it.
No.
You gave it an injury taking it out of the fight.
Okay.
If you had wanted it to be lethal, you should tell me. I always assume you were using non-lethal strikes until you tell me.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
But
okay.
Also,
because I'm hoping I have the opportunity to kill things at some point.
If you opt to use a lethal attack, it does give me more threat in the. All right, we're gonna get a little bit more of this in, and then we're gonna wrap things up here.
No, but I'm just saying. Yeah,
no, they don't know. And the fact of the matter is, Darwin also believes in what's it called?
I don't know. What is it called?
He believes in survival of the fittest.
Well, no, actually, that was a term made up by Alfred Russel Wallace. No, what was it? Huxley. It wasn't Darwin anyway. And Darwin believes
I thought
that
Huxley.
it might have been Huxley. I actually don't like that phrase. It certainly wasn't Darwin's. Because it's not about survival, it's about reproduction. And fittest means best fit for the environment, not like the biggest and the strongest and the smartest. Fitness in evolutionary biology is not the thing that you go to the gym to get. Sal Cordova.
Bitch made for all time.
Yeah, it's been years now, years of bitch matedness. And also he's reverted to his old slimy persona over on Reddit, because apparently that's the only place he's getting any attention right now is over on Reddit.
See, I was going to ask whatever happened to Sal.
Yeah, he's transitioned mostly. I mean, he still does stuff on YouTube, but it's mostly now seems to be on Reddit, where people are just learning to ignore him because he never adds anything useful to any conversation. Instead, he is still writing the fact that he was voted best overall creationist in the first Cambrian Bunny Awards.
Are
like
you
4 kids.
kidding?
I am not kidding. He still is using that.
How long ago was that?
It was like 4 years ago, man.
Dapper.
Jesus.
I just want to announce to the chat the current running total of days that Sal has been bitch made. 964 days, 1 hour and 56 minutes. About to be 57 minutes.
Wow.
Herbert Spencer is survival of the fittest. Says Anani, lots of numbers.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was.
That might be. I mean, this is not. It's pathetic. This might be one of the most pathetic things that I have discovered in a long time.
Okay, but did I tell you about the question he asked me about my guests?
When? Like, is this no?
I'm sure he asked me how I got so many women to come on my channel.
Oh yes, I have
just
seen that.
Super telling on yourself, my guy. Like,
right,
Sal. Yeah, I don't know. The only answer I have for you is like, don't be sexist, and then you can probably get some women to show up.
Yeah, Fearmonger Punchinazzi is asking me to keep everyone updated on when we hit 1,000. I've already floated this several times that we can have a combo 1,000 days of Sal being bitch made / my birthday, because it's gonna happen within like the next 30 to 40 days, which is right around the time of my birthday.
I think it could be fun.
I'm just saying.
Well, you know what you should do is you should figure out exactly which day that's going to be, and then let me know so that I can have stuff ready.
I've done this before, though, so...
Yeah, but it wasn't that close, because now we're within, like, what, 30 days or 60 days or something? 30 days?
Let me go grab the time and date calculator.
Ooh, I could use my new calendar, guys. I got a Necron calendar. It cost way too much, but I also didn't want any of the AI slop calendars that I was finding when I was looking for calendars, and I couldn't find a good Star Trek calendar, so I went Necron with it. But anyway, Kip, it is time to wrap things up. I'm going to give you...
It's going to happen approximately Sunday, January 11th.
All right. We are on a bit of the wire, so you have 45 seconds. Go.
Oh, shit. Damn. So I am... fuck. I'll be streaming on Thursday for Hebrew readings. That I snuck one in before, by the way. But I'll be on with Justin from Deconstruction Zone to continue the story of Noah in Hebrew, which will be fun. I'm doing some other recording stuff this week. Vish and I will be back on Friday with another live stream at 2:00 Pacific. But I'm recording with CJ Cornthwaite this week on Dead Sea Scrolls Forgeries, and nice. I'm doing another recording with Maya and Dr. Josh.
All right. So what's coming up here on this channel is on Tuesday. We've got Tisdall Tuesday with Chesh. That's going to be at 6 Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then on Thursday, we're going to be getting the final episode of The World of Tomorrow from those Creationists. That'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Then on Friday, we should be doing another episode of Star Trek Adventures with Kip. Then on Saturday, the plan is to be back here for this. Same time, same channel. Vish, you have 45 seconds. Go ahead.
On my channel, I'm working on a few different things. As I mentioned before, Chrissy and I are working on a collab, talking about blood libel. It's going to be hopefully the first in a series, but again, we're just dealing with real life stuff, family matters, whatnot. And I'm working on a debunk of this book, quote unquote, that came out that doesn't know what the hell it's talking about. Might be able to collaborate with Justin Sledge on that. Other than that, just trying to stay afloat, and shout out to Joshua Geese for helping me pay rent. So,
all right. Well, that was way less than 45 seconds, Kip.
Damn right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your week. If you are interested, in a few minutes, I am going to be streaming Godzilla vs. Destroya on Discord. So if you have access to my Discord, which now a whole bunch of new people do, feel free to come hang out for that. And I think that is all I have for you. Furthermore, ice must be abolished. Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tovand, Tapioca Weasel, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Rivera, Kelvin Brostick Van Manen, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Vollus, Dan Sheedy, Pega Jace, The Plastic Mouse, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Amber Athelian, Pixie Purple, Agricola Siqua, and John Ackerman. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.